People are talking about inflation. I think we're in depression right now, and we're going to be the biggest depression in world history because the Fed can't not keep printing money and hope it stays afloat because the shadow banking system, or called the euro dollar system, is 1,000 times bigger than the Fed. So we're going down either way, whatever's going to happen.
I hope I'm wrong. We're going to go bankrupt. There'll probably be a new conference like the Louvre Accord or the Smithsonian Accord, and they're going to rewrite the rules of the game again. They're going to say, okay, the US dollar, you're toast, and IMF's going to jump in, China's going to jump in. But meanwhile, you and I, if you're holding dollars, you might be in serious, serious trouble.
The dominoes are falling. This is retirement fund giant CalPERS. I think it's the biggest pension fund in America is going broke. Now, that means firefighters, school teachers, public servants, they're all toast. They're all like my poor dad. They're going to find out the government screwed them. They trusted their pension would be there, and it's going to go bust. The biggest bust in the history of the world is coming up. It's pensions. It's a big, big market because they're into everything. They're into all the buildings and REITs and bonds and all this stuff. Pensions are everywhere. So this is the most important program. If you're a baby boomer or if you have parents who are baby boomers, watch this program.
My concern is it is the end of the American empire. And very simply is because our Federal Reserve Bank, our Treasury, and our government has messed up the US dollar so much that they have to find a way to keep people happy. And so they want to just, quote unquote, print money, which they are doing. So just remember this, that money comes from production. And when we pay people not to produce, we're just paying them not to revolt. And that's what happened during the Roman times. And what happened at the end of the Roman Empire, the leaders of Rome debased the currency. They were taking silver coins and gold coins, they were filing them and melting them and doing all these goofy things. They were fighting wars, we're still fighting wars, and they started taxing the worker. And back in Roman times, the worker was the farmer or the yeoman. And so that's why I say it's the end of the American empire, because our money is corrupt. Now, would I take the money? Absolutely. As we were talking about it, don't fight the government, don't fight the Fed, don't fight politics. If they're going to give me $1,000, I'll take it, but I would convert it into either gold, silver, or Bitcoin.
Going back to what can you do? Like if my poor dad, when he lost his pension because he ran for lieutenant governor as a Republican, he didn't know what to do. At 50 years old, he found out his PhD didn't help him at all. So that's kind of why I wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad. My family got so upset with me. How dare you call your father a PhD? How are you going to call him poor? Because the facts are he was broke. At 50, there was nothing on his phone. He didn't know what a financial statement is.
I cannot control Biden, but I can control me. I didn't think it was going to get this bad. So it's gotten a lot worse than I imagined. So is it going to get worse? Possibly. But I'm preparing for it, not, hiding in a bunker, if you know what I mean. We can counter communism taught in schools by teaching capitalism in our homes. And see, that's where I learned about capitalism. I learned about capitalism at home, not at school. I learned communism at school. But the media is now completely, as you know, on the dark side. I am fighting for capitalism because capitalism is about freedom. You can be a communist if you want, but don't take my freedom away. So what's going on with the Fed has got no power. There's the European shadow bank system. It's got more power. But the Fed, what they're trying to get us to believe is that there's inflation. It's really what's happening is we're in depression. I talk about gold, silver, Bitcoin, not because I'm a gold, silver, Bitcoin fan. I just don't trust the Fed, the Treasury, and Wall Street. I buy stuff that's outside their system. I think people should pay attention. That's why I love YouTube, because I get real teachers, and a lot of them are fakes. But this is the enemy here. It says $10 billion. Zimbabwe. I want people to see this because this is the future of the dollar. If you understand that, that's why they're paying people not to work. They just printed $10 trillion to prevent the economy from collapsing. What's happening is Jay Powell of the Fed is trying to push the yield curve up. But as most of you know, the real yield curve is a euro dollar curve.
It's not the Fed curve. And the euro dollar curve went inverted. Now, every time that has happened, tragedy follows.
So that's why I think the Fed is toast.
Once again, the euro dollar yield curve inverted just recently. And I'm standing alongside my friend Jim Rickards that this next one is going to be the biggest of all. Now, it's good news for some people, but horrible news for the boomers who are starting to retire. So if you're a stock market person and you're counting on the stock market to keep you alive, let's say you're 65 years old and you're going to live to 85, you might be in serious trouble. It's really, really horrible. But it was predicted in this book here. I'm not a communist, but it's called the Communist Manifesto. This book here is only 50 pages. Marx was an idiot, but he was a smart guy. He predicted everything that's happening today in America. So he said that what's going to happen, and it's happening in this country here, is the boomers will go bust. So unfortunately, what Marx was saying was that capitalism would destroy 50% of the population and shove them into poverty.
But my point here is this: you've got to be aware. There's no answer, just pay attention. And the reason I recommend gold over Bitcoin is because I trust Bitcoin more than I trust Biden. I don't trust the dollar, if you can understand that. I don't trust the Treasury, and I don't trust Biden. We cannot control the outside that well, but we can control this inside. My own brain, my own emotions, my own spirituality, and my own physicalness. I can control me. So I'm a leader inside of me. I didn't think it was going to get this bad. Question is, what's going on inside? That's why it's education, but you got to take care of yourself inside. The reason stocks are better than real estate, okay, let's say I buy Amazon or Apple. Let's say it's $100. If it goes down, I can exit that fast. It's called liquidity. The true real estate is not liquid. So if you buy at the height of a market, you're the skipper of the Titanic. You're going to go down with it because you can't get out. So that's the word is called liquidity. It's financial literacy. What does liquidity mean? Well, how fast can you exit? So with real estate, the reason I like real estate is that I use 100% debt and I pay no taxes. So I've got to be 10 times smarter because I'm using 100% debt. And if that baby comes down, there's going to be a second crucifixion because this time it's going to be a Japanese guy, not a Jewish guy. They're going to hang me out to dry. My investors will. And what I say to Americans is that America was formed as a tax-free nation. It wasn't 1619 or whatever they say, 1610. America was founded in 1773 at the Boston Tea Party. They said, we're not going to pay taxes. And I'm still a patriot because I still don't pay taxes because I use debt. And that takes a lot of study. And that's what I study. Is how do the rich really get rich using debt and paying no taxes? Do you think Trump pays taxes? Of course not. I use 100% debt because every time I borrow money, money is created. And so because I use debt, the government gives me tax breaks. If you can understand that, every time I borrow $30 million for a piece of property in Austin, Texas, they give me tax breaks because I'm using debt. And that's why this financial statement is crucial. So when I sit down with the banker and I show them I got all these properties, I have no dings against them. They're cash flowing. They'll give me more money. If you understand infinite, you don't need money. It's a complete different way of thinking, Rich. So that's what I learned from my rich dad. Because everybody says, I can't afford it and all this stuff. He said, no, you just don't have enough brain power. The point here is this, is that we're interconnected in this world. It's a global currency. We're in a shadow banking system has more power than the Fed or any central bank. And so the reason I support Bitcoin or crypto, the process of it, is because the Fed, Treasury, and Wall Street have no power anymore. And you better go to the power as quickly as you can. And the power sits up here, and don't be a victim. But just remember this, gold and silver are God's money, but the devil distributed it to countries that hate us. And Bitcoin is people's money, and you can't make any more Bitcoin. So as screwed up as the economy is getting, because we're run by incompetent Federal Reserve and PhDs like my poor dad, it's really a good time if you can look in other directions and buy some gold, silver, and Bitcoin, people's money. Thank you.